match. Many teams aware that Long is the foundation for the squad so that he can be the 1v9 king. On the flip side, FunPlus Phoenix saying, our jungler's better and he doesn't need to be as flashy as yours.
Yeah, and you can back that up with this stat. Long is, actually, he's not technically the kill leader in this tournament because Chaz over on RRQ played a truly incredible number of games, and he has like 8 more kills than Long still. But Long is the kill leader among players still in the tournament, and by a mile. He's got 70 kills in this tournament so far across a very small number of games. He gets the job done for Nova Esports. Other members of the team set him up, and he knocks things down. You can see them playing through him here again as they lock in the first phase of this draft. A Lee Sin and a better carry champion there is none.
Nova Esports going back to what worked so well for them in their series against Rolster Y, the quarterfinals last weekend. Long, instead of indexing on a late game carry, he is going to be the early bridge that structures Nova's early game into a mid game that will, hopefully for them, prove to be better than FPX's.
And I will say there's a difference between the way that Long plays Lee Sin and the way other people play Lee Sin. Most of the time, we talk about Lee Sin as this early game threat that's going to fall off and enable other players into the late game. He's going to do all that bridging during the early game, and then throughout the mid game still be a carry threat, because he builds full lethality, and because he gets a big gold lead.
The other thing, too, about Long is he will still be able to find crucial playmaking opportunities in the late game that will clutch out games, even when you look at a Lee Sin and say, okay, what is he going to do? There's no way that he can steal this dragon away from me. There's no way he's going to find a kick onto my back. Oh my god, he just did it.
I also want to flag some of the other things that we got in the first rotation from Nova. You saw the Corki getting first picked here. Expect to see that throughout this series. Very high priority between these two teams. It gets taken away from Yezi. Yezi basically has only played Corki this tournament, so instead he's going to be on Karma this game. The Karma of deliberate takeaway, I'm sure, from Nova, but also will be key in enabling 0711, in enabling frontline for FPX.
Taking a moment to absorb all of the bans so far. No Ziggs means that there's not going to be a strong magic damage dealer for Nova Esports, and FPX sniping away the other main magic damage carry in Morgana.
Very teamfight focused draft so far from FPX. When you see that Morgana, when you see the Rakan, when you see the Jax, all those characters have big CC spells, and that's an indication that they're looking to start organized fights. Use that layered CC to leverage FPX's team fighting ability and lock down individuals.
Nova Esports have to solidify their support in. Galio will be the call. And what I'm looking at for FPX, every single champion for this Jax has a shield. They are all ensuring that they will play through 0711 to be that frontliner that can have all the protection he needs while still putting out tons of damage.
I would frankly expect this final pick to be a huge carry in the top lane, and yeah, there we get it.
Okay.
So I don't think all this shielding is actually for 0711,
well,
though this is how any other team would play it. Any other team, you're absolutely right, would be all about the Jax in the jungle. FPX play to their top side early. 0711, as they were talking about, not as flashy of a carry jungler. He's going to be the aid, the support, the engager. And Fado on this Lucian top versus Riven is challenging Yaz to a 1v1. He's going to say, Yiza, yes, you have more lethality. I'm going to be able to dodge all of your engage, stay at a distance, and with the aid of Karma, especially Ardent Sensor, do the damage necessary to win early game team fights for FPX.
And that's during at least the skirmishing part around the objective fights, 5 minutes into the game. What I'm going to be really focused on is what will Nova do to punish something like a Lucian Baron lane. The reason why we don't see Lucian succeed on the top side of the map or even in solo lane is usually, yes, you have laning dominance, but teams don't successfully translate that into meaningful advantages. And you are playing against a Lee Sin, who is one of the best gankers in the game that can punish something that will overextend naturally to the lane setup of Lucian versus the
Galio heroic entrance.
Sparks fly as we head into Game 1 between FunPlus Phoenix and Nova Esports, and already checked out. We got some potentially lane swaps coming in, or at least some early vision for the Baron side of the map.
Yeah, early rotates coming out, and I think they're anticipating what Nova are doing here. which is Yuza and Neon roaming up from the mid lane. This is a very common WRL strategy. We're seeing it deployed against other WRL teams to get extra gold onto Neon so that he can be a bigger threat in the mid game.
Just a straight up exhaust. That is Neon saying, you cannot contest this wave. We're going to instantly clear it out and bypass the early point of the game where Yitze would be normally weak to Fado in the Lucian lane.
Yeah, Yuza does get the gold there on the top side and the gold in the middle of the map. So they've given him more gold as he approaches lane. But also, once Neon reaches his own lane here and catches the wave, you will see that he has the gold advantage versus Yezi. That's going to be rough. Versus Yezi. So, as Yuza left the lane against Yezi, he was able to escort Neon up to the top side, get extra gold, and it will be a big advantage to this Corki, who does a decent amount of damage for Nova Esports in the team fights.
Yeah, I think it's just really cool that Nova Esports, we already asked, hey Long, you're the Lee Sin, are you going to do anything about this Lucian Riven lane setup? They've already taken plans without even involving the jungler. Long has finally finished his jungle clear setup. He's trying to contest this mid wave, and I expect that... Well, he's going to have to put the money where his mouth is.
Prove it!
Prove it! Right here, on the Rift, baby.
As we do get back into it, reminder of the game state. Fado from the top lane on the Lucian is going to be the early thrust for FPX, and you can see them rotating in order to do it. Nova Esports on the opposite side are playing defense, primarily scaling their mid laner. Neon, as we saw in a little rotate game early, and it is Yuza who is being focused out.
And this is exactly what FunPlus Phoenix did in their game 1 against RRQ quarterfinal series last week. They rotated all their support and their jungler towards the top side of the map, bullying the respective Baron laner off the towers, funneling and snowballing the gold into Fado's pockets. And it makes incredible sense here since this Lucian needs to come online early.
Mark, Neon, I get it. It's their strategy that Neon just came up and took all of the gold from that top lane wave. But also, if I am Yuza right now, I am so a little bit upset.
Dude, I needed you to just shadow me in case they dove me. I didn't need you to take my wave.
But it's their strategy. I think they recognize that Yuza is going to have a rough time in this melee versus ranged matchup, and so they're putting as much gold as possible on to Neon, who does a significant proportion of Nova's damage.
See, that's the copium angle I tell my teammates. It's like, hey, you're not going to get this gold anyway,
right.
So it doesn't matter who gets it as long as one of us is getting the gold.
Mark, I'm so angry whenever you gank my lane, miss, and take all my gold. It does not work. Long's taking his gold as well!
Hey. Nova knows who the real carry is. Come on.
Yeah. So, as you can see by who they're distributing gold to, Nova are going to play through that mid-jungle duo. And you can expect Long to start showing up in lanes trying to gank. We already saw that down bottom where he and Remake and Yami, who are going to be the core trio of Nova in terms of engage, in terms of finding those fights, tried to shut down Xiaoma and Lei.
Already, FunPlus Phoenix, all their efforts for Fado has netted him a solid 600 gold lead, allows him to complete a Black Cleaver first, so it's not the hole breaker that we usually see rush for Lucians in the solo lane. Yeah,
kind of interesting on the opposite side. We're talking about Long as the expected carry of Nova Esports. They did try that bottom lane gank, came up dry with nothing. And indeed, you can see 0711 trying to steal away some farm. This isn't even really about getting the Jax big, though that's of course a good thing. It's about shutting down Long. And so far, FPX have done a masterful job of denying that Lee Sin any early game traction.
A common matchup play-out condition for Jax into Lee Sin, or any carry jungler into Lee Sin, is it's not about having to fight the Lee Sin early on, it's about making sure that he doesn't just get out of control. Yeah. And if you can bypass that time, you can comfortably farm all of your camps, and you will naturally outpace the Lee Sin later on.
And Nova keep having to send people up here as Fado shoves this wave in again and again and again. He's now almost 200 and again, 200 gold ahead of Yuza, and he's doing that on the Lucian, which means that during this first team fight, as we head towards our Rift Herald and Ocean Dragon, he's going to be doing an awful lot of damage.
And the fact that FunPlus Phoenix were able to snowball so much gold into Fado, bypass the first 4 minutes of the game without any devastating impact from Long's Lee Sin is a huge boon for FunPlus Phoenix as they head into potentially our first mid-game fight.
So here we go. The opposite side for Nova, if they want something that will do damage during this first team fight, it's all going to be about Long, it's about Neon. Neon does have his package and an awful lot of gold. Long does have Lee Sin.
Looks like Neon is actually trying to poke 0711 off the dragon as Long wraps up the Rift Herald, beelines towards the top side of the map and forces FPX away from supporting Fado immediately.
Okay, so Rift Herald traded to 1, Nova Esports got it, Ocean Drake in response to FPX. Long pressing the top side. They needed that turret. Nova Esports badly wants an early gold lead so that they can force this game to their advantage using the Lee Sin. On the opposite side, FPX are very happy getting the Ocean Dragon and extending this fight up top because it gives them more time to bring that Jax online, to bring their Morgana online, to bring their late game team fight online.
And if this is your first time watching Wild Rift Icons, and this is your first time watching FPX, you'll notice that in a lot of their games, there might not be a lot of kills, but there is a ton of active actions that are being made by FPX to deny the enemy team, in this case Nova, from being able to get ahead.
And you can see, I also want to highlight an example of one of those. Fado getting really risky in lane, poking up there, because he had Lei shadowing him in the bush. They were trying to bait and engage out of users so that they could get a free kill up there. And that would have given them the turret. You can see Fado's actually broken 2 turret plates all by himself just with this advantaged matchup in lane.
FPX, one of the things that we have come to admire about this team is their constant line of communication, actively and fluidly reacting to what their opponents have been doing throughout Icons and being able to have spatial awareness of where everyone is on the Rift.
Over on the Nova Esports side, all their gold is going to the bottom side of their map. Their Orianna and their Corki. Those 2 carries will be so deadly in the mid and late game team fights, and they're necessary because Nova, as you can see, are not able to force the fights they have against lesser teams. They're not able to get early, long Lee Sin engagements. They've been denied at every swing on that front, which means that now Nova are looking at the FPX scaling damage and going, okay, how are we going to fight in the mid-late game? Poke.
Boom. And
Prod.
Whittle them down from afar. Use the long range to advance to your advantage. Nova Esports, while Long's early advantage has ceased away, 0711 still has to fear Long's Lee Sin in these mid-game fights.
Yeah, so the poking and prodding coming out from FPX is the desired game state. Nova Esports across this entire game will still have the same problem. Even when they get late game, how do we start a fight and make it go? How do we get Long into the front lines, carrying the Orianna ball, with the package following him, with the Galio ulting on top of both of those? That's their game plan. It's start a fight that's 5v5 that lets us just roll through the enemy front lines, reach Xiaoma and Yezi and Fado in the back lines of FPX.
Yitze and Long do have an insane amount of mobility. Hold up now, Long. Oh, this force of flash.
This is the
he
dream.
Stasis. Fado, I think he's got him. A Dragon's Rage kicks him over the way. No way, he gets out alive, right? Long enforces the flash out of Lei, but he secures first blood for FPX. And Yitze trades one back out of the bottom hill. But we've got Chaos on the other side of the map because it is 0711 splitting on the bottom.
0711 realizes everyone's rotated up to the top side. The second he sees the Galio ult, he knows he can go into the bottom side.
Lei and Yetzi pushing the tempo here.
He iframed it.
Yeah.
He used the Galio dash to dodge the Transcendent Embrace.
Oh.
That was incredible from Yami.
Nicely done. Yami dodging out on potentially a kill for FPX, but it's still 0711 pushing the pace with that turret take.
First kill to FPX, first turret to Nova Esports, second turret back over to FPX. At the end of the fray, FPX have earned a tiny infinitesimal cold advantage, and the 2 teams are dead even.
It took 8 minutes to get there, TJ, but finally, blood erupts from the Rift. FunPlus Phoenix are the ones that strike first.
Rift Herald's coming back up very shortly, and FPX are fully positioned around it, daring Nova to step in. This is Nova's chance to do that rolling engagement. Long starting things off with the Orianna Shockwave, Yami following behind. And the second they threaten it, the second FPX see that 4-man core pushing in together, you can see they disappear. Ghost back into the fog.
Long will have to be careful about how he chooses his engages and his mobility tools. He is down to flash, which means if he commits both, he is dead and gone.
Their key targets are Yezi, 0711, and Xiaoma. Those are the 3 targets they want to find in the backline. Fado's going to be stepping a little bit further forward. Okay, here's the package for zoning. FPX.
Okay, Transcendent Embrace. It pulls Yami back, but he is bodyguarding them. It gives time for Long to be able to secure the Rift Herald. The fight erupts. Xiaoma press forward. Fado pulls out the culling and forces them back, but it's still a kill over to Yitze. 0711 almost goes down.
Great fight for Nova, and it comes from Yiza, the man who's been starving all game, who's been struggling in lane. He steps to the front lines, finds himself the kills necessary to win that fight, and it's all him occupying 3-4 players' focus. As he buys time for the team, the rest of the squad uses the package, uses the space created by it to burn down the Rift Herald. And now they can try and do it again. So here we go.
Damn, that was so well timed, TJ. Good job.
I felt it in my bones. I actually can't explain it. Like Dominus is into the front line and then Stasis is, you can't walk past him. And you can see User demonstrating that predilection right now as we get back into the game. Tab back in if you're listening on audio. We've got gameplay again and we've got a dragon fight.
Rift Herald has been deployed as well on the bottom side of the map. That's going to be maybe a distraction towards FPX. Nova going to try to use that to take away FPX's focus away from the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, so FPX roaming right here, poking away, trying to draw FPX away from this fight. Nova force their way in.
This minion wave, Neon is holding
Dive!
it all day right through.
Huge taunt!
Three-man taunt from Yami. It locks at the core of the FPX, and they have to back away from the side of the river.
But the damage trade goes all right because Neon hovers at the side, dumping out damage. Now he's focused by Fado, but the kill doesn't come through. He's badly split.
Huge knockup from Lei.
5v4.
It sets up 0-7-11. He gets exhausted. He flashes forward, but now he's blinking on HP. Nova silence 0-7-11, and Neon goes golden, but he is isolated by, but a good flash away from the pit, and he Valkyries over the wall. He gets out alive. No one goes down from Nova.
And Remake's still full HP. He steps forward. Lei and Fado all need to back away. Without the presence of 0-7-11, they can't take this dragon, and they know it. So FPX reset away from the dragon as that fight was played on the brink of disaster. Nova Esports are going to get to claim the second dragon of this game.
And by pushing the tempo, immediately recycling in teleports as well for Yitse so that he can step up in case anyone from FPX dare to challenge. It's the dragon secure for Nova.
And it's Neon who is the hero, playing on the side of that fight and doing a huge amount of damage. He gets focused by Fado, who commits a full culling to trying to shut him down, manages to survive and get back into the fight. Then he's in an awkward position because he's like on the flank. Everyone turns to focus him. A pixel perfect flash Valkyrie gets him behind the pit and to safety.
Honestly, that is like one of the coolest Corki plays we have seen the entire tournament. And
Absolutely.
it wasn't necessarily like a Corki specific mechanic. It's just the position awareness of how Neon can escape a critical death.
Yeah, really well played by Neon in that team fight. And it does give Nova Esports a slight advantage. The second direct of the game goes to their pocket, and they do have a very minor gold lead, hovering around 2,000-3,000 now. The combination of that and the previous skirmishes going their way.
We're at 13 minutes now into the game. The second dragon going over Nova.
Run!
They are hunting for 0-7-11, kicking to the
dead,
wall.
dude.
No flash available. I think you might be right. He's going to try to buy as much time as he can. Lei cannot get in range.
Oh!
Whoa, three-man knockup. 0-7-11, no way. He gets out alive, but it's the wind slash. Comboed with Long's damage that takes out FPX's jungler. They're still fighting onto the front line. Xiaoma gets deleted. Nova, do they turn for the Baron?
FPX commit too much to try and save their jungler because they know if the jungler goes down, its objective's over to Nova. And you're absolutely right. Nova could burn the Baron, but I think at this rate, they also have enough of an advantage that they don't need to take that risk.
They are looking for the minion wave instead, ensuring the push. Vaudo expends the Ignite, creating pressure on the Long. It looks like FPX are able to successfully defend the mid turret, but Nova pulling ahead in these fights. 5,000 gold now at 14 minutes.
Yeah, Nova didn't actually get a whole lot of an advantage from the fight. Let's take another look. 0-7-11 caught out here at the very front of the fight. He jumps forward, buys a ton of time really well, and then the rest of the team commits so hard to trying to save him that they have nothing left in recourse when Long dives into the backlines, assassinates a member, and then bails, leaving Xiaoma overextended because they know they can't find 5v4 around Xiaoma.
At this point, FPX have to reconsider how they are taking these fights. Since that was a pick that Nova executed on, the fact that FPX almost salvaged it from a 4-man knockup that Lei created, you can see that where FPX can shine if they fight on their terms.
Morelnomicon coming online as well for Remake is a huge power spike. He's completed the Archangel staff. Remake is going to do huge damage in the backlines of these fights from here on. As we've already talked about, Neon is doing massive damage in the side of these fights. And so Nova have the game in their hands for now. When will FPX come online? Well, right about now. 0-7-11 has been power farming. He's completed his wit's end. As he's completed Rabadon's death cap, they can team fight at any moment. They just need to win it.
Triple item completion for FPX's jungler means that this is going to be a prime time where Jax can look to clean up the fights. But the fact that Long is maintaining this gold advantage through the advantageous skirmishes that they fought, Nova have all the position in the world that they need to be able to take this fight. But a good pick on Ayami, getting the flash out. Now FPX working with the summoner advantage.
Nova around this Baron setting things up. On the opposite side, it's FPX playing defense, losing ground on the map in 3 different lanes, having to correct that, and then rotate in. Not a position we're used to seeing them playing from.
You even have Long split pushing on the top side of the map, ensuring that not only he's taking up more resources than 0711, but he's also maintaining the split push pressure.
And you see this every time Nova go into a side lane, they force FPX to respond. They force them to play defense on the map. This wave in the bottom side is actually pushing for Nova. And I think finally FPX have corrected it, but they're losing so much ground at all times that they're having to attend to these side lanes. That as we skirmish right now in the middle of the map, 0711 is all the way up here correcting this wave, and that gives things like control of this Elder Dragon spawn over to Nova. You can see they have incredibly deep vision inside FPX's jungle and incredibly good vision around the dragon spawn itself. That's because of the way they're playing through the sidelines, and it gives them very tangible advantages in these upcoming fights.
Big thing to notice here, Fado did not go for the Hullbreaker at all. It is a crit build from Lucian.
14 seconds on this Infernal Elder Dragon spawn. Vision control still in Nova's hands. FPX try to push forward to gain control of it. They get nothing for that. They haven't even cleared vision in the pit.
Package is on the way from Neon.
Scuttle is over to FPX, which means they will see if Nova start this dragon, but they won't have vision of the dragon's HP itself. So they do not have advantage in this fight. They're waiting to try and bait Nova into stepping forward so they can land their full engage combo. FPX, as we said, want to fight on the back foot here.
Long fishing for a Sonic Wave, doesn't find anything. Lei's got to be careful about where he steps up.
Nova are waiting for a good trigger pull, which looks like Long getting into the backlines, being followed up on by Remake and Yami's ultimates.
And this is good from Nova. They know that they have the package. It's not going to last forever, so they have to start the Dragon. They need to force FPX to face check.
Here come FPX. They wanted this fight. This is their dream scenario.
Watch for the grand entrance for Lei. Yite planting a flank onto the side. It's Yami that goes first. Long engaging, kick flash.
Dead.
They've isolated Lei, and that is main engage gone down. Neon using the package, separating FPX from the rest of the damage on the backside of the map. Dragon being burned down. 0711, can he get in? No, it is secured by Long. Nova Esports, they have the damage. The shockwave clipping Yetzi and Fado, forcing flashing forward, but Navi follows up. Remake has Yetzi in his sights, takes him out, and Long goes under the tower. The stasis only delays the inevitable, and that's a prime
Gaming
ace for Nova Esports.
They're pushing further forward. They're so long on these death timers, Mark. I think that's game number 1 of our semi-final.
And Nova Esports surprising FPX, not only being the first team to take a game off of FPX this entire Icons tournament, but taking game 1 of this series.
And taking it easily, shutting down the early game attempt to play through Fado on the top side, and then picking apart FPX in the part of the game where they are supposed to be the best. Nova Esports just went toe-to-toe against FPX's team fights and took them apart.
And you saw the surprise reactions from Nova Esports. A lot of the times in their past wins, it's seriousness, it's